All right, here's a real quick one here. Everyone's been throwing a lot of, what does everyone always throw? Wacky worms, right? And what do they always throw? Senkos. The big thing this last year, I heard guys throwing a lot of Ned baits, small things. Well, that all works fine and dandy, but the problem is that fish get used to it. So over at my local pond over here, I have fish that have seen every stick bait you could possibly throw at them and every Ned bait thrown at them. And, they do throw some power worms at them every now and then, but for the most part, you just can't. Senkos are like everybody's go-to bait. And I hate to say it that they get used to them. So a couple years back, I started using different size worms, a little bigger stuff, and it started producing for me. So today I'm showing off this bait, Barracuda Baits. This is their 13-inch trick worm. This here got me a lot of nice bass last year. It is a 13-inch trick worm. I mean, look at that thing. It is huge. How you fish, it's really up to you. I don't Texas rig them, which I'm sure they work just fine Texas rig. But I do mine, certain ways, and it produces me fish. The only reason I'm not saying is because people will be like, oh, that's how you fish it, and that's all I'll see there. So I'll show up one day, and everyone will be fishing these worms that size and that style. So there's a couple different ways I fish them, but for the most part, these are fish catchers. Now, you're like, oh, well, the fish won't eat them. They're too big. Yeah, well, you know what? Here, look. That fish sucks it in and balls it up in its mouth. A 2-pound bass sucks that in, no problem. So, I mean, I'm telling you, I got everything from half pound on up to 5 pounds last year on these things. And it's a good deal. They work out really well. Sometimes you got to change that game up. And Barracuda Baits, I'll put their link down below. These guys sell some baits. I gotta be honest with you, I forget what I paid for this thing, but they were not expensive. I got the baby bass, I got the June bug. Those are the two colors I use a lot of. They're in nice packs. They come with scents. As you can see here, they'll put the scent on it for you. You can pick what scent you want. They come in really nice packaging. They come fast. The guy does a great job. The worms are good. You're not getting a bunch of dented seconds on here. They're very well made, and they're a little bit stouter plastic, which is what I want. If you're gonna throw a bait this big, you don't want something that's gonna rip apart like a Googan bait. You want that bait to hold up. But yeah, this is the years. You're finding out people are throwing 13-inch worms. I'm throwing 18-inch worms. I've got the G-Cat crazy worms. I've been throwing those. I've got a floating TPE worm that I throw when they're biting top water. So yeah, I've been throwing a lot of big baits this last year, and worms are just part of that. You size them, hooks accordingly, your O-rings accordingly, your sleeves accordingly. If you're gonna wacky rig them, you can wacky rig these. They will get bit like there's no tomorrow. But it's something different to show off to fish that have seen a ton of Senkos, a ton of Ned worms, things like that. Creature baits, everyone throws like a bandito bug, a packer crawl, a Senko, stickworm, a dinger, a yum dinger. You go down the list, and sometimes you just got to give them something they haven't seen. And this is one of them. So on my list this year, this is one of the baits I'm going to be throwing. I'm not going to be throwing many of the, the 4 to 6 inch baits much because, that's what everybody's throwing. I'm watching guys throwing, the whole bait finesse thing and the jig and minnow thing has caught on in bass, and everyone watches that. So now everyone comes out with, little minnows. They come out with little worms. They got 3 to 5 inch worms now that are really small, finesse style, throwing them on 6-8 pound tests. And I'm going the opposite way. Sometimes you got to buck the system, and you'll get bigger fish if you do that. And here's a company here, Barracuda Baits. Like I said, I'll link them below. Great company out of, I want to say they're out of Texas. I forget where they're out of. I think it's San Antonio, Texas. But yeah, they'll ship fast to you. I'm on the East Coast, New Jersey, and haven't had an issue yet. So yeah, check them out if you can. A great company. If you want to get into big baits, this is where I'd start. This trick worm here, this 13-inch trick worm, it is a lot bigger than your 6 and 8 inch worms. I threw for the last 10 years. I've thrown the big, old monsters. So my dogs are barking at people here, or squirrels. So I guess that's a good sign to end this video. So let me let you go. Enjoy the dog barks. But yeah, I'll put the link down below. Enjoy their baits, and I'll see you out on the water.